So, example 313 in the book. I'd really like that to be smaller. I'll just actually go over here a little bit. So what's going on with this one? Well, it's the same thing that we've been doing, but different. Okay? So if we drew that picture, let's see if I can make this a little bit smaller. Okay, if we redrew that as a free body diagram, just showing the forces and what's going on, you'd be looking at something like this. Ooh, that's about the straightest line I can make. Okay, over here we've got better. There we go. Okay, so we've got a 10 kip force that's going off at 60 degrees. Well, what that ends up being, I'm not going to put my A, Y, and AX and all that stuff on there at this point. Well, it wouldn't be A anyway, would it? Be O. This is point O here. So what that turns out to be is you've got 10 kips, sine of 60, right? You've also got 10 kips cosine of 60. So all we did was break it out. Okay? Well, then you've got this one right here. That's 20 kips. And of course you've got your 4 feet there. So I'm going to put my distances down here. 4 feet. Then you've got this force right here, which, guess what? 30 kips sine of 75. You also have, let's see, it's this way, isn't it? 30 kips cosine of 75. And then you've got, oh, and that distance is 7 feet. Okay. Then we've got, I'll have to move that up eventually here. Then we've got this force right here, which, as you know by now, is 40 kips sine of 45. And of course you've got 40 kips cosine of 45. And then of course you've got one down here that we can't ignore, I guess. 50 kips. All right? So you got all that going on.
Distance?
Oh, distance, thank you. Thank you very much. Looks like that distance from here over to here. Let's see, 7 and 5 must be about 12, isn't it? You always got to check me, make sure. That's all I need for this free body diagram.
How come you don't care about the distance to the 50 kips at the very end? Since it's that many?
Because.
Okay.
No, because I'm not really looking for the reaction at O or the other end. I'm just looking for the resultant force. That's a combination of all of these forces. Okay, so if I were solving for the two reactions that are holding that beam up, which is next chapter, then yes, I have to have that number. Okay, but for now, I don't have to have that number. All right?
I'm not worried about the 20.
Do what?
I'm not worried about the 20 either.
What 20?
20 kips.
Huh?
Sine
Yeah, it's a vertical. This 20 kips is vertical. The only thing I have to break out is if it's got an angle. Anything that's vertical or horizontal, I don't have to break out. Just like the 50 kips. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. On this one, you could say, if I can find my cursor again, you could say it, but I can't because I can't find my cursor. There it is. You could say 20 kips sine of 90, but what is a sine of 90?
1.
So there's really no need to say that. Okay? Just like you could say 50 kips cosine of 90, or excuse me, of 0 or 180. That's going to be 1 as well, right? Cosine of 0 or 180 should be 1. All right? So you don't, anything that's vertical or horizontal, you just put it in there. It's the one that's on the angle that you have to break out. Now, if we were solving for the reactions at O and the other end, we could ignore the 50, the 40 kips cosine of 20, or excuse me, cosine of 45, the 30 kips cosine of 75, and 10 kips cosine of 60. We could ignore those because they go through the point, don't they? They don't cause any moment. But they are causing that reaction force to do something. So this is what's different about this section than the previous section. Now, we don't just have y values, we have x and y. So essentially what's going to happen is all of our resultants to this point have been going vertical, mostly down, right? And some distance from the left side. What we're doing in this section is we're going to have a force that's going to be going something other than x and y. And we're going to have to find out what that resultant force is, what the angle is, and then how far from the left side or the right side it's located with respect to that. So that's what this section's about. Because you're not always going to have just straight up and down or straight left and right forces, right? Sometimes you'll have other forces that will be projecting onto some kind of a body. Okay? And I swear I do not remember having any of this when I was sitting where you're sitting. Of course, that was 1984. I'd have to go back and look at my notes to see. I don't remember it at all. That's all right, because we can still solve for this bad boy. Okay? And we're going to use the exact same techniques that we used. I wish I could make that get smaller, you know? Wouldn't that be cool? Ha! Sometimes you just have to give it a go, you know? See what happens. So now I've got more room. I'm a happy camper. There's all I have to worry about right there now. The pretty picture goes away. I do my free body diagram. Now I do have something else to worry about, though. I'm going to run out of room, aren't I? Let's take, can I get this? I can't get it all. Daggone it. I'll have to erase it.
Oh, no. Hit Control Z. There's a way to move it without erasing it all.
Huh?
Hit Control Z.
I have to hit
Okay,
control.
now go up to.
Oh, now I need to do a redo. Is there a redo? Do what now?
Where draw is.
Yeah.
See where it says select next to the eraser?
Here, lasso.
Yeah. That'll let you highlight a whole section and move a whole section. So draw around it.
Wood.
And then,
Ooh.
now you can move the whole thing.
Oh, crap. Still in lasso mode, huh? Question is, what get that? Yep.
Then just find the,
What do I need to do? Hit escape?
there should be a little like a,
Ah,
when you do that, should be a way you can, get like a, moving thing, a little, arrow set.
well, it's right there.
Not that one, the other one. The little, that one.
There.
Yeah, like that.
I'm still going to have problems when because what happened is I've made my screen so much smaller. I'm going to have to move things around as we go. Okay, but thank you, that helped quite a bit. See, nothing wrong with me. Somebody learning me something. Okay, I don't mind that at all. Okay, so here's what we've got to do. So we go in there and we find, Go get our pencil again. Okay, so we go find our resultant value. In the X, we got 10 kips, and I did not bring my calculator again because I didn't think I was going to need it because I already did all the problems. But I'm going to need it for this, aren't I? That's a positive value. Then we've got minus 30 kips, cosine of 75 degrees, minus 40 kips, cosine of 45, minus 50 kips. Punch all of that in. I'm going to cheat. Punch all of that in, and you should get 81 kips to the left. Is that right? Now, the book says negative 81 kips, but that's, if it says negative, that means it's going, they say negative 81 kips going to the left. Well, I don't agree with that. It's just 81 kips going to the left, or negative 81. That's how I knew it was going to the left, because that value comes out negative, right? So that's that. Well, then I've got the resultant force in the Y. Well, I've got 10 kips there going down, right? Negative 10. Can I dispense with the kips? Can I just put sine of 60?
Yep.
Okay, it'd save me some writing. Sine of 60. Minus 20. No sign or anything. Kind of makes it feel naked there without the kips now. Minus 30. Sine of 75, right? Minus 40. Sine of 45. That's it, right? It's all the Y values.
Not the 50, all of them.
50 is an X only. Yep. Now, if I do the math in that or cheat and look, it says it's 85 kipped, 85.9 going down. Kips down. So, what's happening there is there are my two components. I've got an 81 kip force going to the left and an 85.9 going down. What we have to do is figure out how we're going to get this 118. Well, that is, we go back to what we learned not too long ago, and the resultant value equals the square root of 81 squared plus 85.9 squared. You punch that in your calculator, and I think you're going to get 118.1 kips. You won't get kips, but you'll get 118.1, I hope. If not, you did something wrong. No. I hope, but I hope the book's not wrong. So that's what we just figured out. We just figured out what all of those forces do is that right there. That's why the picture's there.
But you don't know the difference as of now, which is why it's just X.
We don't know X bar yet.
Yeah, or Y. Well, Y doesn't matter.
No, you know, yeah, RY was, this RY was 85.9.
Yeah.
And RX is 81. So we know those, we just don't know where it's at. So what we have to do next is do a moment. Well, first, no, we got one more thing to do. Before we do that, we got to figure out what this, how we got that 46, right? To get the 46, does that look familiar? The arctangent of y, which was 85.9, divided by 81, it better equal 46.7 degrees. So that's how we got all that mess. Daggone, it looks familiar, doesn't it? Did all that stuff previously just to get to that, essentially. You see why when I say, well, this quiz is going to be over chapters 1, 2, and 3? That is chapters 1, 2, and 3, basically. Right to that, a big chunk of it. Now the rest of chapter 3 is coming up. We got to figure out how to get the X bar, right? We can do that because we just got done doing it in the homework problems. We were figuring out where our bar, or the X bar was for those ones that were just vertical, right? So that's all we need in this case now is X bar. Not have to worry about Y bar. So the first thing we have to do, after we find our mouse again, is we do a summation of the moments about O. In this case, it's labeled there. And see, now, I don't want to tell you, and I'm going to have to probably move that again. I might just can I delete this? This is the same picture that's in your book on page 49. Or excuse me, not 49, 50. Okay, this picture right here. But what we're going to do is find out what X bar is. Now I'm going to delete this and go back and get the lasso, I guess. Delete. Oh, crap. Well, now that's real cute, wasn't it? I'm reverting back to my CAD practice there, right? Actually, there is a lasso in there, too. Get rid of that. Okay, so then we do a moment. And this will be, actually, it is on page 50. So you do a moment. Interesting. I think they're doing that just a little bit. No, there. Okay. So you've got to go back up to this picture right here. Okay, and we're doing a moment about O. Let's see, get the button back here. Okay, and if we're doing a moment about O, again, the 10 kips, cosine of 60, anything that's on that x-axis goes away, doesn't it? It's not creating any spinning motion. There's no distance. With no distance, you know, it's 10 kips cosine of 60 times 0. That's a good thing. Thumbs up, okay? For anybody that's listening and not here. Thumbs up. That's a good thing. Okay? So we'll do 20 kips. Times 4 feet, right? When I say right and hesitate, that's your clue. Negative. Correct? It's going clockwise. This is the 20 kips right here. I can scroll that back up a little bit. Okay. Well, then we've got minus 30 kips. I'm gonna dispense with those two. Got to. This one I think I definitely would run out of room. So 30 kips sine of 75 times 7 feet, right? And that was in the original picture. That was 4 feet to 20 and then 3 feet to 30. therefore it's 7, right? Minus 40 kips, sine of 45, times 12 feet. Sorry. That's it, right? Punch all of those in there, and you should get something like 622 kips feet.
That's a negative answer.
Right, and that comes out a negative value, which means that it's clockwise, right? Well, now what? Based on what you know now, to find that x bar relative to O, I think it's kind of neat to denote that so you can know, because on some of those homework problems, I went back and did it from the other side. So you kind of need to know which side you're coming from. So I'm coming from O in this case. And I did those in that homework just so you could go back and check your work. It shows you a way that, I mean, you can walk out of here if you're doing your work and practicing enough in that hour and a half next Friday, you can walk out of here knowing that your problems are right because you went back and checked them based on the other direction. Okay? I would suggest you wait till you get completely done, then go back and check them if you're so inclined. Don't mess up and not get the problems all done because you're checking them all. Okay, so we got, so then we know we take the moment, 622 kips feet, notice they do abbreviate that, divided by 118.1 kips. The kips cancel out. You're left with feet. That's a good thing. 622 divided by 118. Hopefully.
They didn't use 118.
Yeah, they didn't use one.
Oh, that's right.
They used
Your
5.9.
Your result in Y.
it should be the resultant in the y because I'm finding the x value. Sorry. Let me go back and I got to get my eraser out. So sorry. Now, why am I using the y value? Let me write it in there, then we'll, come on. Yeah, it's not the resultant. That was a bonehead move. 85.9 kips, they still cancel out. Why am I only using the y value? Well, I took the picture off, but go ahead.
Because your 85.9 is going down and your resultant at the angle is the 118, so you're trying to account for the x value there.
Right, remember the picture looks something like this. We went, what was it, 81? 81 in the x direction, and then we went down 85.9, right? The resultant vector is this right here, right? Which turns out to be 118.1 kips. And this angle was 46.7, right? So what we're trying to find is this distance right here. Well, we can't use the 81, we have to use the 85.9 to get that. Does that make sense? So yeah, we had that picture that we had originally that I took off. If you look on page 50, that basically is what I've drawn there. Okay, so that number turns into 7.24 feet. And this picture right here, I think, helps to show exactly what's going on. It's going to the right of that point. What?
It's supposed to be in quadrant 4 or 3.
It is? Oh, okay. Well, Was it down and to the left?
Yeah.
Sorry. The problem we do at the back of the chapter will be like that. Let's see. Let's just redo that all together. Numbers are all okay, but the direction. You should have stopped me before I got to there. So we went to the left 81, right? And down 85.9, was it? Then this is 118.1. This was 46.7, I think. Okay, and this is the X bar that we're looking for, which turns out to be 7.24 feet then to the left of that point. Okay? You know what though? It's not to the left. It's a third quad. It can't be to the left. It's 7.24 feet from O. Because see, O, let's go back up here. So it's 7.24 feet. Let's see, about right here. Ah, crap. That's the only problem with that button on this cursor. Or I mean on the pen. Try to keep off of that. So it's this right here, 118.1 kips. This angle was 46.7 degrees through here. That force does what everything in orange is doing to that beam. Okay? And we had to use all of the different techniques that we've used up to this point. I could really just give you one problem, couldn't I? One monster problem would solve the whole thing. The only problem with that is then when I graded it, you wouldn't have very many chances to do well. If you screwed something up, it would screw you, period. You want more problems, not less, right?
So how many points is a question like that if you were to ask it about 20 or so?
Oh my, this is what Hari Har and I were talking about earlier. See, I look at everything on here as a chance for you to either do really well or not so well. You have to show me your work, because here's what I'll do. I'll make the solutions, and this will be a point. This will be a point. That'll be a point. That'll be a point. And actually there's a plus sign here, right? So that'll be a point. This will be a point. That. This, that. I want to see those units, and then the direction. So there would be what? Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 possible points on that one portion. Okay? And then I do the same thing on the R and the Y. Then I do the same thing for the resultant. On the resultant there you've got, I guess you'd have to have 1 point for this, 1 point for that, 1 point for that, one there, one there. Actually, you wouldn't have to have that one. I'll not put one there because you really want, the plus sign's going to be there. Okay, 1 point for that, and 1 point for that. So what? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different things you could get right. See, I like to look at that from a positive perspective. 7 things you could get right there. At the end of the whole thing, I'll total all those up, and I'll put, you had this many out of whatever that total is. Then at the end of the page, I'll do the same thing. Then at the end of the whole test, it'll be so many right out of so many possible. And I'll take that number and divide it up, And that'll be your percent that you got for this test. Okay? Now,